Yeah, I thought this is another one of these things that's just extraordinarily moving and also just very dense and difficult to tease out the specifics. I'll read another passage in response. This is on page 8. He says, "The fundamental task of education is to assist to collaborate in bringing to pass the conversancy of the person and the world in their mutuality. This is even more fundamentally a task of placement within the fullness of historical time, so that it may become the time of our lives. Then it is one of adjustment simply in contemporaneous relationship to the things around us. For the reach of time alone can fund the meaning of these things and endow our lives with a purposefulness in which we embrace things with respect. That too is the way of self respect, insofar as it comes to pass. Only if the past comes alive in us do we have a future which can own us. That seems to be the hardest thing for present and future oriented America to grasp." Yeah, so it seems like, right, this notion of trying to have a comportment to the past such that it is something that is alive and urgent. Uh, that's the only way that our present world can be meaningful, truly meaningful, and the only way that our we can have anything that looks like a future at all. I mean, I think here of like these really flaccid defenses of liberal education that come from people who are like, well, it's going to make you a better modern citizen, or it's going to help you adjust to this crazy modern world, And I mean, I've always like really, I've struggled to kind of find the right sort of language to criticize those ways of thinking, which seem on their face just extremely goofy. And I think that Bugbee, right, he's not responding to exactly that same kind of thing, but he's responding to the impulse. That impulse is to say something like, well, the purpose of education is to adjust to the present. And he's like, no, it's to adjust to it's to adjust to the entire history of human life. It's to kind of be plucked out of the stream and to be able to, as W.E.B. Du Bois says, to sort of walk on arm in arm with Balzac and Aristotle, right? Like, and that's one, and sort of appropriating the past as something that is actually the present. That the problems and the wisdom of the past and what has been written in the past actually bear directly upon our lives today. And that's another thing that is not self-evident and requires work on our part to achieve that perspective. But that is the way that the world becomes meaningful, right? He says that this is even more fundamentally the task of education is to be able to achieve this kind of placement within the fullness of historical time, right? To kind of be able to see the permanent condition of humanity and to be able to be open to the range of responses to that condition that have been made over thousands of years, and that many of which we have because they've been handed down, many of which we have because we've had to sort of wrest them from oblivion. But that's ultimately the task of education, is to learn how to dwell with the sort of trans-historical wisdom of humanity and sort of win a place in it for ourselves.